pretty close.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michelle, you're
Okay.
on.
So I can start as I fumble around with this
Yeah.
to get it into a good place. Okay, so the purpose of my work in this symposium and in the world of living theory is to make the connection between the individual journey of one's own living theory and then building the cultures of inquiry within the spheres of influence that we each have around us. So to start, I'd like to explain a little bit about my own personal work with living theory and then take it into how this helps to support the work in building cultures of inquiry within my own sphere. So my own living theory is constructed on a framework that supports care and connection in learning, primarily through the use of vulnerability and dialogue in teaching. It is the primary contributor to my own theoretical framework is the work of Nell Noddings in her work in the sphere of caring. And her work in caring lays the foundation for my core values of connection with others. Specifically, as a how that shows up in my practice is some of her theories of engrossment and being connected through others through being engrossed in their conversation and asking questions and being authentically present when you are in conversations with others. So what's important for me to understand is that the very notion of theory being living contains action and movement, and the methods that were used to transmit our values are as equal in importance to naming the values themselves. And that's been really important for me in my own understanding, is not just understanding what the values are, but how they show up or how they don't show up in the practice. And so in my own work, I use an exploration of a variety of data sources to figure out how they were showing up and not showing up in practice. And that includes looking through years of student feedback comments and analyzing them qualitatively to look for the types of words and the types of phrases my students were used to describe the type of professor I was, and also looking through video data and looking for evidence of how I was conversing with students and peers to see how my values were showing up there. What was really interesting is that there were particular blockage points in the transmission of my own values, primarily because a lot of the work I do, and especially today, is working online. And so I found particular challenges in the use of the online modality to make meaningful connections with others. So that was really insightful as I started to build on my own practice work on my own living theory. But the part two of this work is traversing from your own individual living theory to the work of creating the cultures of inquiry, which I primarily explored with Jacqueline Delong on this symposium as well. And that requires, I believe, a really thorough understanding of your own practice, acknowledging that that's fluid and growing as well, but knowing your own practice so that you can be vulnerable with others as you try to make connections with them. Because in my belief, it's only through understanding yourself and your own values and your own practice that you can begin to see how you can challenge the systems and the structures that are currently in place that are serving to deny those values of human flourishing. And the work with others, that's a primary purpose of the work with others in cultures of inquiry. So in Jackie and I's work together, we talked about how cultures of inquiry can exist in multiple fashions, both micro, two people involved in a conversation, macro, people involved in a class or a course, and then both being sustained and spontaneous. A spontaneous being a conference session in which people might attend for 90 minutes like today and walk away with an impact of change. Or sustained, in which they take a course with somebody or exist in a mentorship relationship that happens over time, where there is sustained influence. But again, as facilitators for these cultures of inquiry, Jackie and I propose that the how of creating that inquiry should be examined and explored just as we do with our individual living theories as well. So you will see in each of our papers, the use of video evidence is of primary importance so that we can see the values of vulnerability, authentic connection, and mindful questioning, and loving educational conversations as they play out in all of our various cultures of inquiry. Particularly, this form of data allows us to see the contradictions and what is actually occurring in the video clips as well. And it's an essential part of the living theory methodology and provides significant validity to our claims within this space.
Okay, 5 minutes, go on.
Oh my gosh, already? Okay, well, I'll stop there and then I'll trim that part because the last part talks about the questions that the AERA conference asks us about. So that's good to know. Thanks, Jack, for giving me the 5-minute warning. Okay. So I'll trim the intro part so I can give at least a minute or so to the questions.
Yeah, great.
Good practice. Thank you.
Partbati, go on.
My turn?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
And remember not to talk too fast.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Partbati Dhungana. I'm going to share about my paper. The title of my paper is Accepting Educational Responsibility by Living Common Educational Values, a Sattvic Framework. My issue of the research is passion for teaching, learning, and assessing culture seems insufficient to promote sattva, that is goodness, among facilitators and students, particularly in the university classroom. So in response to this question, I developed the research question, how did I enhance goodness in the graduate classes? According to the Eastern wisdom tradition, tamas-like people are ignorant, rajas-like people are passionate, and sattva-like people are good people. Sattva or goodness is the constellation of inquisitiveness, happiness, and knowledge. For me, sattva is the state of being inquisitive and joyful in the process of acquiring knowledge. I believe that sattvic or good people take educational responsibility and work for the common good. In other words, by promoting sattva, we can enhance the sense of taking social responsibility for common good. Therefore, this paper proposes a sattvic framework that promotes sattva among facilitators and students. Here, I use my own living educational theory, living love, that is the constellation of living values, collaboration, care, respect, and joy, because joy shares the quality of sattva, that is happiness. So living love to the fullest explores the notion of sattva, which seems the highest state of knowledge acquisition that holds the potentiality of accepting educational responsibility by influencing me, my colleagues, students, and the university culture. Regarding methodology, this is under self-study methodology. I adapted a participatory action research design. Regarding methods, dialogue as a method of data collection, and inquiry, this is more collaborative and cooperative inquiry. I have data in video, reflective journals, presentation, assignments, and blog writing. From this research, I explore a sattvic framework for developing a sense of educational responsibility. The framework includes voluntary participation, valuing everyday sense of wonderment, respecting interdependence, enhancing culture of inquiry, and adapting aesthetic inquiry. Finally, I explored 3 prerequisite factors. They are gender equality, caring, respectful, and inquisitive facilitators, and a lovely learning atmosphere. Regarding the significance of my study, together we explored the 2 common questions. How can we unite with practitioners, with scholars across other academic fields and disciplines, and with other citizens beyond academia to strategically address complex social and educational problems? And what are the values that are we bringing into our culture of inquiry? We explore that we need transdisciplinary project. For example, like my method class, like this symposium planning. And next is my by living common values such as love, care, and vulnerability, and social value, gender equality. Lastly, I realized that my living educational theory, living love, has extended its meaning as interconnectedness or oneness. And the growth from tamas to rajas to sattva is not a linear but cyclical process. Thank you.
Very good. Very good.
Nice work.
Right on. So do you want me to go, Jack?
Yeah, sure.
I haven't timed mine, and it's still in very rough form, but I'll give it a shot. So I'm going to read it because I'm still kind of working it through. The argument I present in this paper is that in creating my own living educational theory, I am using my relational values of loved into learning in cultures of inquiry as explanatory principles to explain my influence on myself, on others, and on social formations. Within expanding global boundaries and providing cross-cultural support, I share my work as a mentor for global citizen scholars, as I am educationally responsible for encouraging and supporting these practitioner researchers to create their own living educational theories. I share the evolution in my understanding of global cultures of inquiry, which are safe, democratic environments where loving educational conversations generate space for practitioner researchers to share their values, recognize when they are living contradictions, and feel safe exposing their vulnerabilities and their embodied knowledge. Being dialogic by nature, dialogue is crucial to clarifying and sustaining a culture of inquiry in a variety of forms, using dialogue as research method with visual digital data. I refine my understandings of cultures of inquiry and living educational theory as a social movement and improve my practice as I engage with global citizen scholars in the generation of their own living educational theories as I prepare for this symposium. By engaging with them from within my relational qualities, I distinguish my contributions to developing a global culture of inquiry as an activist citizen scholar. In using culture of inquiry, I include the creating and experiencing of being loved into learning in a culture of inquiry for creating a living theory of one's own life. I share the growth in my learning as I contribute to the creation of a safe environment in which members of the group can participate in values-based dialogue for creating living theories. Dialogue is crucial to generating and sustaining a culture of inquiry, and I encourage dialogue on creating an evolving living culture of inquiry in terms of how I support others to create their theories. By evolving, I mean my understanding of the process of supporting others in a safe, supportive, and encouraging space continues to refine through interaction with other practitioner researchers in locations across the globe, as we have been doing in the preparation for this symposium. Each of the contributors to this symposium have experienced a sustained culture of inquiry for creating living education theories with me and within this symposium group. With their own values, they have taken that epistemology into their sites of practice to enhance their influence. The values that we share that inspire our writing include love, vulnerability, and care. Reflecting on the contributions of the members of the symposium, we can see each individual's commitment to improving their world, albeit that we come from vastly different parts of the world, different perspectives, different contexts, different experiences. If our culture of inquiry could be more broadly influencing our world, it would bring a focus away from economic rationality and a focus on life-affirming energy and energy-flowing values and human flourishing. In terms of the significance of my paper, I point, with the help of the digital video data, to the relational qualities that we express as our life-affirming energy, as distinguishing a global culture of inquiry for the individual contributions we are all making to our distinct and different cultures. Within this paper, I think you will see my mentoring responses to practitioner researchers who are working and researching within their culture context by engaging with them from within my relational qualities that distinguish my contributions to developing a global culture of inquiry as an activist citizen scholar. As activist scholars, we are inviting you and other interested researchers to join us in our global culture of inquiry. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, I think that was 5 minutes. That was good. Oh, great. Okay, I'll have a go.
Maybe that a little shorter. I know there was some repetition.
No, that was really clear. In fact, you've all been, really clear. I'm curious about whether we'll agree to actually hold to this order in which we go, because it would enable me now, for example, as I come into mind, to connect with what's already been said. But we can actually talk about this later. Okay, so I'll have a go with my just 4 or 5 minutes worth. Yeah, my paper is focused on the theme of AERA in terms of accepting educational responsibility. And my responsibility is very much related to helping to form and generate and sustain cultures of inquiry. Now, what I mean by accepting educational responsibility is that I do focus on generating and supporting others to generate their own living educational theories, in which they're accepting their educational responsibility for generating and sharing their explanations of their educational influences in their own learning and the learning of others and the learning of social formations. And my educational responsibility over the last 50 years has developed, it's evolved from a focus on my own educational influence in my own learning, then into the learning of others, and now focusing on the idea that Jackie Delong first put forward in her doctorate in terms of the ideas of cultures of inquiry. And what I'm doing is to take up where Jackie left off her presentation in terms of the idea of energy. That it feels to me that one of the omissions in much educational research at the moment is in accommodating the fact that we all know that this idea of life-affirming energy is brought into everything that we do. And when Partbati talks about the Sattvic framework, about goodness, this is something that, again, I've been learning a lot about, but I connect it with that idea of life-affirming and enhancing energy. And where everybody at the moment has mentioned the being loved into learning and the idea of the cultures of inquiry, but also vulnerability, it feels to me that when I look at what I do, then I've got to really concentrate on bringing into the academy these standards of judgment that are used in relation to explanatory principles, like Partbati with the Sattvic framework. When actually I look at the relationship that has taken place with Michelle and Jackie over several years, and I followed that through from when Michelle came to a workshop that Jackie and myself actually introduced, and then Jackie supported Michelle in developing her living educational theory at the university in Florida. That is what I've actually been supporting. But this idea of a culture of inquiry with the questions that AERA organizers have asked about how can we unite with practitioners, with scholars across other academic disciplines and fields, and with other citizens beyond academy to strategically address complex social and educational problems, it seems to me that this is what we have been doing together. And what I intend to show with my presentation, and that is actually accessible on the web, is to demonstrate how over several months we have worked together in communicating, for example, Partbati's notion of the Sattvic framework with goodness coming from a totally different culture than the others. I mean, the closest one is Shivani in relation to India, but certainly with Jackie, Michelle, and myself, these are coming with the culture of inquiry, integrating other insights about the nature of goodness and what we're bringing into our educational practices as we support a global culture of inquiry, but still focusing on what is needed in an educational research community, which is to make sure that we are contributing to the educational knowledge base, which I think we are showing now quite new explanatory frameworks and standards of judgment as we have been working together and explaining how we've been influencing other over months now from different cultures with our values and how we contribute to this global culture of inquiry. That's me.
I don't know about you, but I thought it sounded pretty good.
Okay, good.
I think it makes sense, Jack, if you are going last.
Yeah, I was just wondering if, as I say, I got such a lot as each person was speaking that it felt to me that I could include what we have been doing together in terms of this idea of an original contribution to knowledge, which after all, you know, AERA is supposed to be focused on. And I think we've been doing, but yeah, that'd be great. So I'll get this recording now. I'll see that it's done it okay, and I'll then get it on YouTube and send the URL, and I'll send it to Shivani.
So
Okay.
in the order then, where do you think Shivani might be?
I'm happy. I mean, it could be Michelle, Partbati, Shivani, Jackie, myself. But that is one order that it feels to me would actually work. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So we can share the video with Shivani, and
Yeah.
maybe next week she could share her 4 to 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what we each, I don't know if you feel this, but it felt to me that we actually, even if it was between 4 and 5 minutes, you know, it was actually very disciplined. And let's see what we think, because it will be so easy just to extract the clips of each of us, which if we wanted to, we could actually just put onto our paper. You know, this was actually a practice run through which we include on our paper. But we could think of doing that, but that was so impressive in terms of, it wasn't over prepared. In other words, there was quite a lot of energy behind it as we communicated.
Well, I'm conscious that one of these Mondays we're not going to see Michelle, so that's why I was kind of, you know, let's at least, you know, have a dry run so that, you know, if you get tired.
And that was good. Well, that was well placed. Thank you, Jackie.
Here is Michelle giving birth, who will now give us a 4 minute.
That's right. That's right.
Never mind the baby. Just
Point the video. Let's make sure we're recording when that's going on.
Right. Good. Well, we'll be all right for next month. Although Michelle, we recognise, you know, you may not.
Yeah, this one's out of my control.
Yes, it is.
But we are uploading this week, Jack. Right? We're uploading to our own individual sites. We figured everybody would have to individually upload.
Yes, that's what Jackie was saying. Oh, run it right. Okay.
Yeah, so we need to make sure that we meet the 12th, March 12th deadline. So everybody okay with uploading their paper?
I'll mention that to Shivani as well. It's Shivani, so, you know, we've got it all up there by the 12th. I'll circulate this, and then as long as, you know, we'll see if Michelle is okay to meet next Monday, and just have another run through, which would be great. But that Partbati, again, you know, we were all very clear indeed about the contributions of our papers, you know, so that was excellent. It was great to hear that. Yeah.
Today, I have revisited my research question, and I think I need to work for a few hours before to submit or post the final version.
Yeah, to post it. But it would be helpful if everybody would just send me the final version that you upload. Yeah, because that would give me the opportunity to put them all together and just put them onto the website so you can all access those together. So if you know, you've got your final version, you're going to upload, if you just send me that copy, that would be very helpful. And I'll ask Shivani to do the same.
So
are we okay?
I don't know.
I'll share.
Michelle, but I'm having.
That means individually we are going to upload our paper there in this for the symposium. Okay,
yeah,
fine.
And that's definitely before the 12th. That is the deadline, so it's 4 days. Yeah.
I'm having trouble downloading videos, and I've tried Download Helper. I've tried Grab, and I spent hours on this because Jack, from the last recording. I tried to download it so I could take some clips out of it, and I can't seem to do it. So I can't figure out what's the problem. I've been doing it for years.
Yeah, we got over it, didn't we? Because I can actually send through WeTransfer the clip, and if Jackie gets stuck, you know, I can actually take, and I've done this, I've taken out the sections that Jackie needs, then repost them. But I don't know what's going wrong with Jackie's, in the sense that, you know, all of these things work, certainly for me, in terms of downloading with Face.
What do you know to take a clip off YouTube?
I haven't done in the last few. I've just watched, so
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have the same issue.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, we do have a solution, so
Okay.
Yeah.
it just bugs me when I can't figure things out.
Yeah.
I hear you.
All right, that's great. So Jack asked us to do a quick response, 1 or 2 lines
Oh,
about
that's right.
that point in the video last time. So I'm going to do that. It would be helpful if everybody did that. Okay.
Thank you for the reminder.
All right. Good to see everybody.
Yeah, really good.
I think we have one question left
Yeah.
to discuss about the paper, to publish the paper like you asked.
So what about publishing, Jack? Got any suggestions?
You mean the paper, where to actually present it?
Publish it.
For publication. Well, when we've got them all together, there are a number of journals that we can actually submit to. You know, there are some within AERA. There are others, such as the Educational Action Research. There's the International Professional Development Association, which will be a good one to get in. But this week I could send, if I haven't done it by next Monday, remind me, because I can send you the details of the International Professional Development Association with, you know, how to submit those papers.
So is that a Scopus journal?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Because I know that Shivani is very concerned about that.
Yeah, that's right. Those are.
Okay.
Both of those. Yeah.
All right. I'll send a little note, remind us about a couple of things we said we'd do. And
Yep.
Michelle, you just do whatever you.
Yeah, do what comes next.
Yep.
I
Do what
like-
comes naturally. That's right, Jack.
I feel like we're all having a baby.
No, it's a group effort. We birthed the symposium and a child.
Best wishes, Misael.
Thank you.
Lovely to see you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye then. Bye-bye.